Hey folks, I'm Spiderfish. Welcome to another installment of crazy Reddit relationship drama from r/relationship advice. Don't forget to subscribe for daily content to unwind, fall asleep, or study to. Settle in, let's get right into it. This one comes from user Fall Accomplished 1358. Found out boyfriend got a naked lap dance on the day we found out I was pregnant. I flew off the handle and slapped him and broke things. Full of remorse. 35 F37M 33F and BF37M. So on Saturday, I found out that my boyfriend of 5 years went to a strip club on the day we found out I was pregnant with our first child and received a naked lap dance whilst I was at home. Lap dances involved sexual stimulation in the form of grinding and touching. In my eyes, this is cheating. I know the stripper obviously has no interest in my boyfriend. I think the fact he has willingly paid to receive a dance and touch another naked woman is cheating. Whilst perhaps I haven't explicitly said to him, "If you get a lap dance one day, I'm done," I have, whenever the subject has come up, made it clear I wouldn't be comfortable with it, and the fact he went on the night we found out we were pregnant just felt like a punch to the stomach. I asked him where he went on the night that it happened. At this point, he didn't know I knew. And he barefaced lied to me. I did this to essentially give him the chance to come clean. I continued to question him, and it was only when it became obvious I knew he admitted it. He clearly, therefore, knew it was an issue, and that I'd be upset by this. I'd like to start the next part of what happened with the following. Not once in 5 years, 3 of those living together, have I ever even shouted at him. We have had a very calm, loving, healthy relationship up until now. I have never ever had even a shred of doubt in him and my trust for him. I believe he and our relationship was pretty perfect. He has been a truly amazing partner, and I have been good to him and shown him the utmost respect I believe he deserved. I never thought I had it in me to behave how I did next. In the moment when he admitted it, I screamed at him and threw my can of drink on the floor and ran upstairs. He followed me, and at that point, I am screaming and crying, calling him names. What proceeded after this was nothing short of a nightmare, and I am so incredibly ashamed for the way I handled things. I felt so incredibly hurt, betrayed, and like our entire future was ruined. I felt he was continuing to lie to me and play things down. However, there is absolutely no excuse for how I handled my hurt and anger. And I have spent the past 2 days absolutely hating every ounce of myself for my reaction/S. So across the 3-day period after this came to light, it was a constant battle and shouting match. Constant questioning, constant crying, wondering how he could do that to me whilst I'm pregnant, calling our entire future into question. Barely a wink of sleep. Questioning whether I could even have the baby when the foundations of our relationship, the trust, was broken. It was killing me. I slapped him on the back on the evening when initially finding out. The next morning, I whacked him on the arm and slapped his chest when continuing to question him and feeling lied to. I asked him to show me exactly how the lap dance was. Yes, probably a bad choice. And when he showed me a video of the sort of thing it was like and told me his hands were all over her body, including her bum and breasts, I completely lost it and pinched his shoulder. Threw our phones across the room, smashed the Hoover on the floor, emptied some bath oils he had bought me as a gift onto the floor, and threw my makeup bag across the room, and TBH several other things in my vicinity. I was just throwing anything and everything in my path in complete blind rage. I felt absolutely out of control. He grabbed me to try and stop me by the wrists, and I was trying to get away, and his hands off of me, and I've spat at him. The most disgusting act a human can do to another human. I've then, after this 3 minutes of madness, landed on a heap on the floor crying and in pain like I've never ever felt from the hurt of it all. I've eventually reached a point where I am starting to feel forgiveness towards him. I am, of course, questioning whether I can trust him going forward, but his remorse and the fact in 5 years he has legitimately been the most supportive, caring, wonderful partner says more to me about him than a lapse in judgment. But it's taken me 6 days to get to that point. For 3 days amidst the nightmare and chaos, My only thoughts were around the fact I cannot trust another word he says. He's clearly lied before. If he can disrespect me on the day we find out I'm pregnant, then when else has he been doing things like this? I couldn't look at him the same, and I felt hurt, and emotions like I've never ever felt. I am now struggling more with my actual reaction. Please don't take this as me trying to defend myself or make excuses, but across our relationship, before this, I have never ever even called him a bad name. It's gone from that to me crossing lines I never ever on my wildest dreams did I think I was capable of crossing, and I don't know if I can ever forgive myself. He doesn't seem fazed by my reaction and thinks I am giving myself too hard a time. He's saying context matters, that if I'd shown a pattern of behavior like this before, or if I'd physically responded in this way over something trivial like him not making dinners, then he'd of course be gone. But regardless of his feelings around it, I just cannot believe I reacted like this, and I'll never be able to take it back. I'll never be able to say I haven't slapped my partner or spat or showed levels of disrespect only the worst kind of human can show. I think I need to break up with him, not because of what he did anymore, but because what I've done in my reaction, as no one deserves that, and I feel like he's now a victim who deserves so much more. I'm 11 weeks pregnant, and I was so looking forward to starting a family and life together, and I feel like that's now down the drain, and we need to start afresh separately. He doesn't want this. He thinks we can move past this, that everyone makes mistakes and they don't have to define our whole relationship, but I just can't comprehend how, with these lines being crossed, we could really be the same. I wish more than anything in the world that in the moment on anger and hurt, I walked away, went out, didn't lash out. 3 days of absolute chaos and madness instead. I've already spoken to my therapist about this. I'm just struggling so much right now and would appreciate any advice, insights, opinions. Do you think there is a way forward for us? Thank you, if you've got this far. Wow, what a doozy that is. Personally, I'm thankful I'm not in a situation like that. I think that user Alan Weber said it best. Here's her comment. I'm wondering if he found out he was going to be a father, then went out and got the lap dance, or if he came home and found out he was going to be a father. Either way, it does not excuse his behavior. But if he found out he was going to be a father, then his reaction to that is to go out and get a lap dance. That is somehow even worse, like you went out to celebrate with a stripper instead of with the soon-to-be mother of your child. Don't let him become the victim here. Agreed that 2 wrongs don't make a right, but don't feel so bad that you forget what he did and suddenly put him on a pedestal saying he deserves better. No, he deserves to be single, not cause of what you did, because of what he did. All right, let's get into the next one from user throw RA_constant. My 24F husband 26M left me passed out on the floor while sick and then got mad at me the next morning. I see him different now. We've been married for a few years and have a baby. We had relationship issues after the baby, but I thought we had resolved them and he promised he would be better and all that. He did get better. He did his share around the house, and house chores aren't a big issue because he just does what needs to be done without complaint or comment. But something at the back of my head felt off. I never really explored the nagging feeling, but now I realized that he never showed me any extra care. In fact, he gets upset or easily frustrated with me if I cause any extra inconvenience. Not sure how I didn't notice until now. So 2 days ago, I think I got sick. I was feeling that gross, thick skin feeling and vertigo, lightheaded, IDK. And by nighttime, I was shivering and freezing. I was still able to function, so I didn't think much of it. Complained to my husband about it, and then we went to sleep. Yesterday, I woke up feeling like my bones were lead. IDK, how I functioned yesterday, but it felt like autopilot. My boss messaged me with some tasks, so I did them on my phone before my baby woke up. Rolled out of bed and somehow took my sister to school. Came back and worked some more. Usually I have energy to flip between being a mom and working, but yesterday I just laid on the floor to work while my 1-year-old watched some Ms. Rachel. Then had to pick up my sister from school, come home to make dinner, and by the time my husband came home, I felt dead on my feet. Anytime I moved, it felt like I was lagging and my body couldn't keep up. I told my husband this a few times. We ate, I put away the leftovers and put the baby to sleep while my husband went to his office to do some quick work. After this, I don't really remember because my brain was foggy. I found myself in his office, we exchanged a few words, but I don't remember what. And next thing I knew, I woke up alone in his office on the floor. I felt so heavy and out of it. It took so much effort to get up, but when I got out, all the lights were off, the kitchen was not touched, and he was in bed. I just stood in the kitchen and realized that he just doesn't care. I already knew he wasn't going to clean the kitchen tomorrow, and that he didn't care. I felt off. I had a busy day planned, and I didn't have time to wash all the dishes the next day. So I loaded the dishwasher and then went to bed. I laid down, and 5 minutes later, my husband, very angrily, told me to turn off the lights in the kitchen. At this point, I had no energy to deal with him, so I ignored him and fell asleep. The next morning, today, I woke up covered in sweat, but that gross feeling was gone. That's when I realized that I was sick. My husband was upset with me. He wouldn't talk or look at me and was stomping around. I tried to ask him about yesterday, but he just grumbled something about me confusing him. Everything from yesterday caught up, and I just can't see him the same. I realized that he has never taken care of me or done anything that was inconvenient for him. I've been sick before, and every time it's the same thing. He gets upset at me somehow. After I had a baby, he was upset that nothing was kept up around the house, yet got angry with me when I fainted from overexertion at 2 weeks postpartum. I remember him yelling at me that I did this to myself, and it's my fault for not taking care of myself, even though just 2 days before, he was telling me that he was angry with me for not keeping up with laundry, and that I needed to clean the kitchen because it was starting to smell, and he didn't want to cook anymore. Don't even get me started on how he never woke up at night. All these memories hit me, and I just am disgusted by him. How did I not see this? What do I even do? I'm going to stop here before the post gets too long. And there's the end of that one. Sounds to me like this guy needs to get his priorities straight. What do you guys think? This next one from user Throw Drama gets into a drama involving her cousin and her husband. Uh-oh. My F29 cousin, F29, has convinced herself that my husband, M33, is in love with her. How do we deal with this? My husband, James, and I got married a little over 2 months ago, and this has been going on since then. We had a pretty small wedding. I have a huge family, but invited less than half of them for personal reasons. One cousin, Mira, I was unsure about inviting, but she was going through a hard time, and I thought inviting her would help her get out of her depressive funk. She is recently divorced after her husband of 2 years cheated on her and kicked her out of his home. At the wedding, everything was pretty normal and nothing crazy happened. Relevant detail here is that during the wedding reception, my husband and I did a little segment where we dedicated songs to each other, and they were played with an announcement stating that I dedicated one to him, then he dedicated one to me. The song he dedicated to me was Adore You by Harry Styles. We are both Harry Styles fans, and that is my husband's favorite song. Because of the lyric that says brown skin and lemon over ice, Mira thinks he was secretly dedicating it to her and not me. Her reasoning being that she has darker skin than I do, which is true, but it was not meant for her. And also, insane thought process. Ever since then, she has been telling people that her and my husband are seeing each other behind my back and bragging about dating him, which she is not doing. My husband had only met Mira once before the wedding, at Thanksgiving 4 years ago, and they didn't even speak to each other apart from saying, "Hi." Mira has been posting poorly photoshopped pictures of herself and my husband, and took photos from the wedding and cropped me out of them and plastered them on social media bragging about being with my husband. We have both asked her to stop, and she blocked me and ignored him. My family members are split. The ones who weren't invited are saying, I deserve this, and this is my karma for not inviting them to my wedding. My cousins all think Mira is crazy, and my aunts and uncles who were invited say that I should just ignore her since I know she's lying. This is driving me and my husband insane. And yesterday, Friday, she showed up at my husband's job to bring him lunch and told everyone she was his girlfriend, which led to confusion since most of his co-workers know me, and 3 of them were at the wedding. I literally don't even know what to do at this point because this is so stupid and insane that I'm dumbfounded. I would appreciate some advice. How the hell do I handle this? Well, that's the end of that one. Maybe let's shift into something a little less stressful than mentally unwell relatives. This one is from user throw RA_Disney adult. My boyfriend, 22M, ate all the jalapeno poppers I made before I, 21F, even got one. Tonight, I, 21F, cooked dinner for my boyfriend of almost 2 years, 22M, and me. I made a main dish and some jalapeno poppers as an appetizer, 8 total. I was really looking forward to them because I haven't had them in a while. We sat down to watch a movie, and I was still getting settled and hadn't started eating yet. Over about 15 minutes, he ate all 8 of the poppers. When I went to grab one, the plate was completely empty. I didn't get a single one. I asked why he didn't leave me any, and he said, "You didn't say you wanted any." I was kind of surprised because I made the whole meal for both of us, so I thought it was obvious they weren't just for him. He said, "I'm overreacting because they're just snacks," and he was hungry. I feel annoyed because 1, I took the time to make them, and 2, it didn't even occur to him to leave me one. But now I'm wondering if I'm blowing this out of proportion or if this is a sign he can be inconsiderate sometimes. Is this maybe a sign that he doesn't consider my feelings sometimes? Update. We ended up talking about it that night, and I realized he honestly wasn't trying to be rude. At first, what he said sounded like him dismissing the fact that I was upset, but his reasoning actually made sense. I had made dinner for both of us, and the poppers were kind of an extra thing on the side. He thought they were just something I made for him because I know he loves them, and I did just kind of place them down on a small plate in front of him, so he didn't think twice about finishing them off. I hadn't said anything about them beforehand, so he genuinely just didn't think about it. As soon as he realized how much it hurt my feelings, he felt so bad and definitely made up for it. That night, he went to the store, bought everything to make more, and gave me a whole plate before he touched any. The next day, he made another batch and made sure I got first pick. For context, he's a big guy, about 6'2" and built like a football player, so he can put away a lot of food. He wasn't trying to be inconsiderate. He was distracted by the movie and honestly just really liked my cooking. Everything is good now, and he learned his lesson. How about that? A happy ending. I think it's important to remember that a lot of relationships are perfectly healthy, despite what r/relationship_advice might have you believe. On that note, let's get into a truly horrifying one. This one is from user throw RA7777888. My 22F birth control was tampered with by my boyfriend, 22M. I'm pregnant. I don't know what to do. My boyfriend, 22M, and I, 22F, have been together for 3 years. We were high school friends, grew apart, ended up going to the same college, similar majors, reconnected. You can guess the rest. We've been on the rocks lately. Our lifestyles just don't align very well, and sometimes he treats me more like a mother than a partner. I am losing patience. He is an only child, and kind of a massive mama's boy. His mom is nice enough, just very traditional. Until recently, I don't feel like I've had a reason to distrust her. He confides in her a lot about our relationship, sometimes an uncomfortable amount. For the past couple of months, I feel like she's been trying to plant seeds in my head about having kids when I'm alone with her. Some examples. The joy of motherhood is like nothing else. You'll understand someday. I know it's hard right now. You know, a baby might bring you closer. My husband and I fought constantly until we finally had BF's name. Once you have a baby, everything else falls away. They're little miracle workers. You know, fatherhood changes people. I think BF's name just needs to experience it. That last one, in regards to his irresponsibility and lack of accountability for housework. I'm on the pill. I've been trying to get on a different form of birth control that doesn't require constant effort, like an IUD, injections, arm implant. But I haven't been able to decide which one is right for me. My birth control comes in a blister pack, but I usually pop a week's worth into a pill organizer so I can just take it with my other medications. I don't bother taking the sugar pills you're supposed to take during the week of your period. I keep the empty blister packs with the leftover sugar pills in my nightstand because I'm weird about throwing things away sometimes. What if I need? It later mentality I picked up from growing up in a doomsday prepping household. Thanks, Dad. I feel incredibly stupid for that now. A couple of weeks ago, I missed my period. Took a pregnancy test, saw the dreaded second line, and proceeded to freak out. BF was at work when I found out, so I called him immediately. I told him we needed to talk, and that it was urgent. He didn't want to come home at first since we are not in a great situation financially. I started bawling and begging, and I think he realized I was serious. When he got home, I was sitting on the bathroom floor. I was a wreck, cried so hard I vomited. Anyways, BF gets back to our apartment, finds me on the floor, and as soon as he sees the pregnancy test, he fucking smiles. His face lit up, and I saw red. No acknowledgement of the state I was in. The first thing he said to me besides, "What's going on?" was, "Oh my God, baby, this is great." I wanted to put my head through the wall. I tried to explain to him through snot and tears and spit that, no, this was not great. We're both full-time students with jobs. I can't take time off. I have a ton of unresolved health issues. We can barely afford the roof over our heads. I hate the idea of getting an abortion. I'm all for it when it's someone else. Just for me. I don't know if I can bring myself to do it. He left me to cool down in the bathroom for a while. I told him to get out, and I saw one of my fucking blister packs in the bathroom trash can. We don't use it very often, so we only empty it once in a while. I threw away the pregnancy test. It knocked aside a wad of toilet paper, and the silver foil caught my eye. I dug through the trash, and I found 7 of my regular fucking birth control pills at the bottom of the trash bag. I can't believe he not only did this to me, but also was so incredibly careless. It's like he barely tried to hide it. I can't tell if he wanted me to find out or if he just genuinely doesn't have anything knocking around inside his cranium besides a few rocks. I had been racking my brain trying to figure out how this could have happened. I am so diligent about taking my meds. I feel so fucking stupid. So stupid. The sugar pills are literally a different fucking color. I take like 7 pills in the morning and unceremoniously dump them into my mouth. I definitely didn't look closely at them. He didn't give me a reason to think I had to. He hadn't said anything about kids. I could tell he was kind of trying to be better about his responsibilities lately. I thought things were finally starting to look up when it came to the state of our relationship. We have access to each other's phones. I think he probably checked my Fitbit app to find out when I was ovulating, since I track my period there. I don't know how else he could have known. I think I remember a few times I'd unlock my phone and find the app open, but I thought nothing of it. I confided in a few close friends about all of this. Told them everything. What he did, how I think he did it, how I think his mom might have told him to, how fucking devastated I am and how stupid I feel. In essence, they told me I need to grow a spine, leave him, stop going crazy, and figure my shit out. Decide what to do. Now a part of me feel like I'm Midget B overreacting. I'm staying with my parents right now. They don't know what's going on. They're kind of religious, and I'm not exactly sure how they feel about abortion. I don't want to bring it up because I don't know how they'll react. BF has been texting me non-stop, telling me to calm down and come home and talk to him. I'm so fucking lost. Sorry if this is a mess. I'm not proofreading. I don't have the bandwidth right now. Oh, my God. This one is heavy. Let's all take a moment to breathe and relax and be thankful we're not in a situation like this. Let's move on to a more lighthearted one from user Unconditional 0v3. I, 29F, broke up with my partner 5:30 am after a surprise party. I'm looking to see how others would have reacted to this situation. For context, I've been dating my now ex for 5 months. Things were mostly smooth except the little things that were becoming consistent. He would often change, delay, and/or cancel plans last minute for a variety of reasons. He often knew things would change but didn't let me know until right before we were to meet up. He was 30 minutes late to our first date. I'm a person who really values their time and requires a bit of planning. I have been understanding, forgiving, and flexible to his ever-changing timeline. I did bring up several times that if this became consistent, it would be a problem. Then I told him that it would be a complete deal breaker if he cancelled big plans. He always promised to make it up to me, but never did, and he never changed. Well, that time came. He was away for work for a month with minimal to no contact due to the nature of his work. We had planned to rejoice the night he came back. It started off with him saying he'd come straight to my place. Then he said he needed to drop off stuff and get clothes at his place he lives with his family. A few minutes later, he calls me to tell me he's staying to have dinner with his parents. I told him that it was upsetting because I had dinner waiting for him. His first question was to ask what it was. Then he texts me to tell me he won't be long and insisted he'd come over, even after I said not to worry about it right now. I'm waiting and waiting. I get a call, but couldn't answer right away, but received a text stating that his family had a surprise party for him and that he wasn't coming at all after all. No invite, no acknowledgement of the hurt, and a vague, non-committal plan to come over first thing tomorrow. That was it for me. I waited a whole month for him and planned several days in advance to have a nice dinner. Cleaned my apartment top to bottom, shaved, got dolled up, for nothing. I called him out and told him that it was weird his family planned a surprise party, knowing we had plans, and didn't even bother to invite me. He started backpedaling and saying I was invited and that he wanted to see me. I stood my ground and told him that I couldn't do this anymore. I stayed firm in my decision and had him pick up his things the next day. I wonder if I was too harsh in not having a more in-depth conversation about the issue, although my decision would have been the same. What do you guys think of that one? Should she have broken up with him or tried to work it out together? I'm honestly not too sure. This next one is from user Sandlord Z. My 19F boyfriend, 20M, keeps lethal injections around. How can I react to this? I have been dating my boyfriend for 1.5 years now. He has several mental illnesses, such as severe obsessive-compulsive disorder, anxiety, and autism. He has told me he is better because of medication and therapy, and he doesn't show any over-the-top symptoms. He is quirky, but I guess is quite pleasant to live with. Recently, I was at his house and he was fixing some furniture. He asked me get something from his garage. I had to go digging around a bit. Before I did, I accidentally dropped a box which sounded like it contains glass. I opened the box to check if I had broken anything. Inside were some syringes and needles. There were small bottles full of a yellowish liquid, which some of the syringes also contained. There was also measuring equipment inside. It looked like a strange project. I was curious as to what this was. I didn't expect anything very bad. I showed the box to him and apologized for dropping it. He looked inside and exclaimed, "Just put it back." He seemed panicked though. I asked him what it is and he said, "I can't remember." I asked again and he kept trying to snatch it off me. He was very annoyed and I knew he was hiding something, maybe an addiction, so I kept on arguing. I told him he has to trust me, and if it is nothing, then why is he defensive? He eventually gave up and started explaining, after I promised to understand and not judge. He said his mental issues make him worry and obsess excessively. He has bad mood swings which get extremely bad. He feels helpless, alone, he doesn't sleep for days and stays up thinking, he stops talking to everyone, etc. Years ago, he created something which will end his life quick. He said much of his improved mental health is owed to his lethal injections. They stop him from worrying because he can always reassure himself that there is an easy plan B if everything goes wrong. He took his injections everywhere in the past, but now has them tucked away. I asked him if he has used them, and he said he has gotten close many times in the past. I don't know how to react to this. I kind of understand, but it seems so off. I don't see him as normal anymore. He looked so proud about spending time and money creating lethal injections that it was almost freaky. It also clearly shows how suicidal he is and his fragile mental state. I'm really upset because he is such a good boyfriend, intelligent, kind, genuinely a good guy, etc. And as sad as his situation is, I don't know if I can live with him. How can I properly react to this situation? This one's pretty sad. Sounds to me like he needs to discuss this with his therapist, but what would you guys do in this situation? Let's move on and close on some friendship drama before we wrap it up. From UserThrowRA2963. My 28F best friend, 27F, ended our 12-year friendship with a brief voicemail the week before my wedding. I don't know how to move on without closure. We've been best friends since high school and have talked nearly every day for 12 years. Even after I moved across the country, twice, we stayed close. I was her maid of honor 7 months ago, and she was supposed to be mine. Then she abruptly ended our friendship last week with a scripted voicemail. Some background. I was diagnosed with BPD at 20, which helped explain a lot of unhealthy behaviors I had in my teens, especially compulsive lying. Through therapy and a medicated brain, I've made huge strides. I'm now able to call myself out in the moment, apologize, and try to repair trust when I slip up. My therapist also suggested the phrase, slow your thoughts and focus on the truth, for my friends to use when they're unsure if I'm being honest. It's embarrassing when said out loud in a group, but it's also been helpful. My friend knew about this and had used it in the past, always with kindness. She knew me years before I was diagnosed, when I had no coping skills and was deep in teenage insecurity. I've made a point to clarify past lies whenever they come up, especially stuff from high school, and I've taken full accountability. I know I was the main reason for a rocky foundation of our friendship, but I had thought we had made great progress strengthening it. Our overall values have always aligned. Our actions just didn't always support them. 2 weeks ago, we went on my bachelorette trip. While we were there, she shared a few embarrassing high school stories I had previously admitted were lies, and she did it in front of everyone. It felt intentional and honestly, humiliating. When I asked her about it later, she said she was just anxious because she didn't know the group well. These were my cousins, sorority sisters, and other college friends. They all are also aware of my struggles with telling tales, but also know it's something I'm constantly working on. I figured it was her awkwardness and let it go. Then the next morning, I found out she called my mom. She told her about us getting drunk the night before and brought up things from my past. Drugs, one-night stands, sneaking out of the house, etc. My mom was confused and concerned. I'm 28, and she doesn't care about the details of high school and college as long as I'm healthy, safe, and making better choices now. Her only comment was, if I had known in the moment with any of it, I would have helped you sooner. I called my friend to try to talk about why she felt the need to involve my mom. No response. I texted her twice over the next day and even sent her photos from the trip, trying to open the door to talk. Nothing. 2 full weeks passed with silence. Then, on the day of my final walkthrough with wedding vendors, a day she had access to on the shared schedule and was supposed to be at, she called and left me a 60-second voicemail. In it, she said she was stepping down as matron of honor and that we should no longer be friends. It was clearly scripted. She then sent the exact same message to my fiancé and my mom. I called and texted her, once each, after that. I wasn't going to blow up her phone, but I did want a conversation. I wanted to understand. Since then, I've spoken to my other friends from the trip. They told me she had pulled several of them aside individually during the weekend to complain that she didn't get enough alone time with me. She also shared more embarrassing stories about me from when I was 16 or 17. The general consensus was that I hadn't done anything wrong during the trip itself, but her energy was off, and she seemed like she was trying to prove something. I'm not mad that the friendship ended. I understand people grow apart. What's hurting me is how it ended. No warning, no conversation. 2 weeks of silence, followed by a cold, rehearsed message the week before my wedding. I thought our friendship could survive the past, especially since we had grown and supported each other through so much. She was supposed to stand next to me at the altar. Now she won't even respond to a text. I know I haven't been a perfect friend. I know my past issues may have been exhausting, but I also know I've grown, always been there for her, and I've tried to make amends when I've hurt people. I really believed our friendship had weathered the hardest parts already. Now, I'm less than a week away from my wedding, trying to focus on joy and celebration, but I keep coming back to this massive sense of grief and confusion. I don't know what changed. I don't know if something happened that weekend that pushed her over the edge. I just wish she would have talked to me. Even a final conversation would have helped me move on. How do I handle this lack of closure, especially when I want to be present and happy for my wedding? This is a tough one. I think that user Morgan Mayhem 45 said it best. I want to share something that might or might not be relevant, but something to consider. I had a very close friend in high school that had a lot of resentment towards me. I didn't know it, and it got ugly in our 20s. To me, there are some red flags from your former MOH as far as attention getting, and I wonder if she is hoping that you will blow her phone up. I think by involving your mother, she was trying to create a big scene. And I think a part of her is trying to provoke you before your wedding, either to make you look bad or make it about her. I am proud of you for not responding further. I really hope you can move forward and enjoy your wedding and not let her bring you down. All right, folks, I think it's time to wrap it up tonight. I hope you enjoyed, and please consider dropping a like and subscribe. See you next time.